You are about to enter the fantasy football show. Please stand by like a boss. Estás entrado al fantasía fútbol novelas. Espera con el patrón. Smitty is live Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern.
Get on-demand one-on-one text advice with Smitty at thefantasyfootballshow.com.
You are about to enter the fantasy football show. Please stand by like a boss. Estás entrado al fantasía fútbol novelas. Espera con el patrón.
Get on-demand one-on-one text advice with Smitty at thefantasyfootballshow.com.
You are about to enter the fantasy football show. Please stand by like a boss. Estás entrado al fantasía fútbol novelas. Espera con el patrón. Smitty is live Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern. You are about to enter the fantasy football show. Please stand by like a boss. Estás entrado al fantasía fútbol novelas. Espera con el patrón. You are about to enter the fantasy football show. Please stand by like a boss. Estás entrado al fantasy.
Instructions on how to use Javonte Williams in this letter?
Yes, Nathaniel.
Okay, I'll read them.
Dear Nathaniel Hackett, Vic here. First off, good luck as the head coach of the Denver Broncos, and good luck with Elway, that son of a. Here are the instructions on how to use Javonte Williams. Don't overfeed him. He can only handle so much. Only give him half the work. He can only break 31 tackles per season. So if he gets out of hand early, make sure you dial him back. You don't want him breaking that 31 mark. Okay? Javonte Williams is one of the best running backs in the NFL, but you can't let people know it. Melvin Gordon was pretty good last year, so you have to play Melvin. Okay? Pretty simple. Good luck. Oh, and one more thing. If you end up getting fired, which is really likely at the end of this season, make sure you pass this note down so the next guy doesn't use Javonte. We can't have him used.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios, it's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern.
Welcome to yet another edition of the Fantasy Football Show. I'm your man Smitty. We're breaking down fantasy football bust candidates. We're going to take phone calls, we're going to answer voice messages, and we're going to get right into the news.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com news desk, here is your breaking news.
So we got two reports that are kind of floating around news wires right now. Two reports that have pretty big fantasy football impact because ADPs are kind of high for two of these two guys on screen right here. First of all, let's start off with the J.K. Dobbins report. So J.K. Dobbins, there's been numerous reports talking about how J.K. Dobbins may or may not be ready for week 1. He might be behind schedule. This isn't the first time we've heard it. Now, granted, some of these reports have actually come from Ian Rappaport himself. And this guy J.K. Dobbins finally claps back, which good for him if he's completely healthy. You know, I'm fine with a player standing up for themselves, and I'm actually proud of J.K. here. But here's what the report says, and I know J.K. is going to be optimistic, but I'm going to probably lean on the side of Rappaport, and you're gonna probably wonder why. But J.K. Dobbins tweeted, "I might not even go on the PUP because of how good my rehab is going, and I'm damn sure going to be ready for week 1, responding to Ian Rappaport saying earlier that he is no sure bet J.K. Dobbins to be ready for week 1. Look, J.K. Dobbins may or may not be ready for week 1. J.K. Dobbins may or may not go on the PUP and then be ready for week 1. We don't really know. Obviously, if he ends up starting the season on the PUP, he's going to miss an extended period of time and then come back. But J.K. Dobbins is 100% a no-go for me near his ADP. And Gus the Bus too. They're both recovering from season-ending injuries. This is a situation I'm avoiding entirely. This Baltimore running back stable is completely littered with injury. Tyler Batty, the rookie, is the only guy I'm going to go near whatsoever. J.K. Dobbins is a complete avoid. If he was going in like the 6th round or something, I'd be on board. But sometimes this guy goes in the 3rd, 4th, and sometimes he falls into the 5th. His ADP is kind of all over the place. It started out in round 3, 4. Now it's pushing back to about 4 or 5. This report probably shoves it back into round 4. It's just too early. When you got guys like Breece Hall, you got quarterbacks like Joseph cigar-smoking Burrow, sitting there in round 5 and round 6. Why would you go near a J.K. Dobbins when you can get safer players to put on your roster in 2022? ACL injuries are a tough thing to come back from. We cannot keep using Adrian Peterson. We can't look at a running back coming back from an ACL tear. On top of the fact that J.K. Dobbins also reportedly had meniscus surgery. So he has a torn meniscus or had a torn meniscus, and those are tricky because they tend to sometimes not go away. They tend to sometimes lead to a further tear. Think of it like when you're tearing your finger skin on your nail, and you're like, you peel it back and you got a little bit of a tear going, and you're like, son of a B, what was I thinking? Now it burns, right? Your finger burns. And now you got this like ripped piece of skin, and it just keeps catching, it keeps ripping. That's kind of like what a meniscus tear is in a way. It's the padding in between the knee joint. Where's my knee model? This is the meniscus, okay? In between the two knee joints. It's like padding. And when you tear it, you got to cut it, and it tends to have issues. You also have, if you think about it like brake pads, if you were to cut off a corner of your brake pad, do you think your car would settle and sit the same way? Every time you tear into this meniscus, you're not getting it back. It's less padding for the knee. Sometimes the knee will then kind of angle inward a little more at this trajectory right here. And a lot of times when you cut away at the meniscus, it creates an imbalance that leads to more future knee issues. This isn't a thing where you just cut the knee meniscus and you're fine and you just go on your merry way. Meniscus is a really bad thing to tear. So if it is true that he has torn meniscus on top of the ACL recovery, he might have some swelling and different things that emerge once he gets deeper into his recovery process, starts taking hits, all that. And you can bet that he's not playing any preseason games. You can bet that he's not, going to take any hits or do anything very violent right now. He's just going to try and get his knee right, his balance right, his explosion back. And it takes a whole year, a whole calendar year for running backs to get back to form because they work differently than a wide receiver. Wide receivers can play almost a little smarter with an ACL recovery. Look at Cooper Kupp and his return his first year back. Receivers have it a little bit better. Quarterbacks have it even better. Running backs have to explode and absorb impact that they don't control, whereas wide receivers may get hit and not control every scenario and every situation and every impact, but they have more control. Running backs have almost no control of where their body's going, what way they're going to plant and put pressure and angles on their knees, get hit in the knees with a helmet. This guy is going to have a longer road to recover than people expect. Stop going near torn ACL recovery players coming off of torn ACLs that don't look maybe ready for week 1. Even if he's ready, err on the side of caution like you should have did with Barkley. Your boy Smitty said stay away from Barkley. Don't go near him at all because the writing was on the wall that we didn't have enough information. When you don't have enough information, granted he clapped back, we've got a little information. We kind of got to trust him that maybe things aren't bad, right? But he doesn't even know where he's at. This is not where he knows where he's at until he gets there. When you tear your ACL, you think you know where you're headed. You think you know how your body's going to respond when you're getting hit and on the field. So I'm not saying Rappaport was right. I'm not saying J.K. Dobbins is wrong. I'm merely here to tell you that this shouldn't make you get excited and go, oh, J.K. back in the 3rd or 4th round. Take a Breece Hall every single time. Take a Joe Burrow, go early quarterback. You can't go, Smitty. But Smitty, the quarterbacks are so deep. Why would I go early quarterback when I could just get a Dak or a Brady down deep later on in the draft downstream? It's true. You could do that. And I like that approach. When I see a Breece Hall sitting there in round 4, I'll go Breece Hall and I'll keep kicking the quarterback issue down the road. And if I solve it with a Russell Wilson, I solve it with a Trey Lance, so be it. I love Trey Lance. I love Jalen Hurts. I love owning Russell Wilson. I'm fine with those approaches. But when you are in Snipe City, and in Snipe City, you only have J.K. Dobbins there, I'd rather take my chances on a Tony Pollard down way a little bit as my running back. Truly, I would. Or an A.J. Dillon and get my quarterback on point. Why go J.K. and Russell when you can go Herbert or Joseph Burrow and then grab the running back that you like that could almost rival JK? If not be better than JK, because maybe JK doesn't even play week 1. So that's one avoid running back. Now on to the other avoid running back. We're going to jump from one to the other. This guy right here, Lenny, playoff Lenny, is not showing up in playoff form. This report by PFF, and I trust PFF enough to say that there's legs to this. No pun intended. And I'm not trying to say that adding, like, look, I got a couple LBs I need to drop. I'm not trying to belittle anybody's weight or body shame Leonard Fournette or anything, but he is a professional. He's held to a certain standard. There's a predictive analysis that's going on as to what he's got to do with his weight and body type and shape and all that and do a certain job. So this is not me ripping on Leonard Fournette for gaining weight or anything. Your boy Smitty's got to drop about 12 LBs, and I'm going to do it. Believe in me. Believe in me, I'm going to do it, okay? It's done. It's almost done. I'm doing it. By, let's say, kickoff of the season, I'm going to be a thin 201 and ripped. Right now, there's nothing there. There's no definition. It's not fat. There's just no definition. I'm going to be ripped. Okay? Kickoff of week 1. It's done. Leonard Fournette, join me. I welcome you, Leonard Fournette. Join me in this journey. This guy shows up at 260 LBs. We have a lot of people that have been telling me that this guy's getting in better shape. Some of these photos are old. That could be true. He might be way down from the 260 at this point. Leonard Fournette weighed almost 260 pounds at mandatory minicamp. That was a while ago, okay? We've seen photos where he looks a little trimmed down. I don't know how trimmed down. There's a lot of sorcery involved in camera angles when you're taking photos. In the last photo I saw where he looked pretty thin, it was one of those high shots. It was one of those high numbers. You know what I'm talking about? Where it's like swipe left or right. It was a high angle. Okay? You had Leonard Fournette believers swiping. They were going right. They were like, this man is ready to go. But we don't know. We don't know what he really looks like. We don't know what kind of shape he's in. All I know is when you're his age and you keep showing up at a weight that you got to trim down, it puts your body, it stresses your body out to the max. It puts you in a more likely position to get hurt when you're older and you keep showing up and taxing your body and making yourself try and get in shape. You're dropping footballs. You come in overweight. They draft a guy that can pull in passes in Rachaad White. They draft a kid named Rachaad White out of Arizona State University where Smitty went to school twice. I went to school twice there. And this kid, let me tell you something. I've seen this kid play. He is one of, if not the best hands we've seen come out of college in the last decade. Him and Etienne, I think, are the two best receiving running backs to come out of college in quite some time. You could throw Najee and a couple other people in that conversation. But Rachaad White has that Alvin Kamara 2.0 written all over him. And you can say Leonard's, got the trust of Tom Brady. Leonard's going to be the guy. I like Leonard Fournette, Smitty. You're too hard on him. He's already dropped the weight. It's excuse after excuse. You're coming to me playing defense. You're coming to me saying, Smitty, let me play defense and tell you what he solved. Okay, he's no longer this weight. Okay, he caught passes today. Everything is defense. This guy, Rachaad White, came and he said, I'm playing offense. He said, I'm here to start.
To the moon.
Rachaad White to the moon. He said, I'm here to start. This man walked in, Rachaad White said, I'm here to start.
Mashed potatoes.
To the moon.
And I believe him. I believe him. And I also hear from a number of people that I truly trust that are connected to this Tampa Bay situation and organization and to people very close to the situation. And I heard from several birdies, here's the source game, right? I heard from a source, well, you know what? Trust who you want, okay? Because I trust this source to have pretty good information. They didn't tell me anything locked and loaded, nothing concrete, but they did tell me that Tom Brady wanted to solve his concerns of running backs catching footballs. And he told me this the year they brought in Giovanni Bernard to solve the concerns he had. They didn't get solved. Leonard Fournette comes in dropping footballs and comes in at 260 pounds. You think Tom Brady feels ultra confident that the solution they drafted for Tom Brady's concern entering the 2022 NFL draft to get competent pass catchers in there to revamp that situation in terms of running backs catching the football and giving Tom Brady that pass catching running back he's been wanting to line up behind him and catch footballs on a regular and consistent and solid basis. Do you think that coming in 260 pounds dropping footballs early on in camp is a recipe for this man right here to hold off a hungry and motivated Rachaad White? Rachaad White is a monster. He's taller than Kamara. He's bigger than Kamara. He reminds me of Kamara, just a bigger, taller version. I'm extremely excited about Rachaad White's season. And I really, really believe that if the cards fall a certain way for this guy, he gets the right hand dealt to him at the right time, Rachaad White. And I think it's very possible with this man, Leonard Fournette, as the only player in his way. A disappointment-prone player from back in Jacksonville, where he literally had one of the best years of his career, and they got rid of him because he was such a problem. He was such a locker room problem. He was such a problem off the field. He was a disappointment. And I'm not trying to be ultra critical of him as a human being. I'm not here to do that. I'm sorry, Leonard, if this comes off the wrong way. I doubt he ever sees this, but if he did, Leonard, I'm sorry. Okay? The way this is coming off. But you've been disappointing, and I can't trust you from a fantasy football perspective. I'm putting my trust in Rachaad White. It's Rachaad White season. Let's go.
Let's go. Mashed potatoes.
Absolutely here for it. I'm absolutely here for it. It is Rachaad White season. And he might get an emoji here real shortly We got Josh in the building, says Rashad White to the moon. We've got Blackbeard in the house. We got Jeb. Appreciate all you guys falling in. And that's really it for the news today. We're gonna hit the phone calls now.
It's voicemail time. Drop a voicemail at the Fantasy Football Show on the gram. Tell your grandma.
He'll punch you in the throat.
Okay, so we're gonna get to this. Rock out with a super chat. You guys got to forgive me, for some reason my system isn't loading some of the comments. Let me see if they're coming in now. It looks like they maybe are coming in now. I see Rock out with a super chat. Appreciate that. I see a couple super chats here. I'm gonna have to read them. I don't know that I can grab them on screen. For some reason, things aren't loading properly here. Family home with COVID. Oh, Michael K. CPA. Miss CPA is holding things together. Really mild symptoms, not what we expected. Awesome community. Michael K., we appreciate you. Get better, young man. We don't want you out too long. We need you back here. We got another super from Rock Out. First of all, thank you for that there, Michael K. CPA.
Thanks for the super chat. Giddy up.
Appreciate you, buddy boy. And now we go to Rock Out. Rock Out says, rate this team. CMC, Javonte. Let me see if I can screenshot this because I can't grab it on screen. I don't know what's going on with my system here. All right, so let me grab this bad boy, drop it on screen, and there we go. Rock Out with the super. Thank you, Rock Out. Rate this team. CMC, Javonte, AJ Brown, ETN, McLaurin, St. Brown, Hurts, Freiermuth, Gage, Pierce, Jamison Williams, Dotson. I mean, really good, bro. I mean, wide receivers, you got McLaurin and AJ Brown. You got a almost a second round wide receiver, but we'll call him a top of the third. You got another third rounder in McLaurin. You've got another third rounder in ETN. You've got in my opinion, a 6th round talent in St. Brown. You've got a 6th or 7th round quarterback. You've got arguably, in my opinion, a top 5 running back in Javonte, and at least per start a top 5 running back in McCaffrey. I can't guarantee he'll stay healthy, but I mean, Rock Out, you robbed your grandma in this league. Your cousin, your Uncle Bud, your Uncle Bill, your Fantasy Karen. You got everybody pretty good in this draft, bro. I hope you got the entry fees up front because some people are bailing in this league. Nice work, Rock Out. Appreciate you for the super kind
Thanks
sir.
For the super chat. Appreciate
you. 19 variants are like a mild cold now, said Prime. Okay. Not touching J.K. Dobbins, says Carrick. Appreciate you, Carrick. Let's get to the voice messages, and it looks like the voicemail group number 1 doesn't have anything waiting for me, which is quite shocking, to be honest. I know I had some other ones that were waiting for me. Kevin's got one for me.
My favorite one was the when you use the microphone and you were like, Nathaniel Hackett, you can only use Javonte half-time. You cannot play him more than half-time.
No more.
Did you not know that?
No more than half-time, Nathaniel. Javonte comes with instructions. You can play him half-time and that's it. Once he gets to 31 broken tackles, he shuts down. Auto shutdown. I love how people just think, like, this is a new Nathaniel Hackett, new coach coming in, and he's just going to use Melvin and Javonte the exact same way. 2 coaches in a row are going to say, this is quite arguably the best running back in the league. You can laugh at that all you want. If you don't think Javonte is arguably the number 1 running back in the NFL, then you see him differently. I don't even know what you're doing here, to be honest, because that's how my mind thinks. I honestly feel like Javonte is going to explode no matter what anybody does, okay? That's how I feel. Maybe I'm overly optimistic. That's okay. But that's how I feel. End of case. I'm the judge and jury and executioner on this show, and I say Javonte's going to the moon.
To the moon.
Enough said. What's this right here? This is from the last time. This old thing here. Somebody was doing this team, and I never got to complete it. Kevin.
Hey, what's up, Smitty? It's that time for leagues to start up, Dynasty and redraft. Why don't you break down some warning signs for the people of what leagues not to join. Like, what are early warning signs you would give people of leagues not to join?
I mean, you mean like you don't want to join a league where people are going to screw you? I would say if you're doing any kind of like long-term dynasty league, if that's what you're asking, I would only join leagues where, you know, you get some kind of entry fee up front for the next year, because people will trade all their draft picks. If you can trade more than 1 year of draft picks, that league has a higher likelihood of crumbling. You know, the best place to play, bro, I'm just going to be honest with you, is to go on over to Underdog Fantasy, link in the description. And I'm going to drop the link in the live chat and pin it real quick. But this is where I think you should go play right now, good man, because you can play all kinds of best ball. You can do the puppy drafts. They're $5 to do the puppy drafts, bro. $5 to do puppy drafts. And you can win all kinds of cash money. And you can do strategies over and over and over. So use the pin link in the chat. I just dropped it. Or you can go to thefantasyfootballshow.com at any point. And you can also click the link in the description. But best ball drafts are amazing because you can just continue to draft over and over. And what I love about best ball is if you do the same approach, you trust your approach, right? You do it over and over and over. Like me, Javonte, and Swift. Javonte and Swift are going to win me leagues. I love it. And if you do it over and over and over, you get different variations of it. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like you're putting yourself in a position where, like when you do an NCAA bracketology, you'll sometimes do a bracket and you love it, but you want little alterations. So you kind of keep a majority of it the same and you alter this team's going to win. That team, you have a couple different Final Fours. I feel like it's the same thing in best ball. Trust your process. Come down to a theory you have and a way you can kind of deploy it. Obviously, use best player available to guide you in those different directions. But that Javonte Williams and Swift from the 12 and 13 or anywhere in that late half of the first round, when I do that draft over and over and over, and I get different variations, I feel like I'm setting myself up for a big money spot. I feel like we're going to land one. Kevin.
Voicemail 2 group represent.
Yeah, you guys are. You're doing it today. Lance, what's up, Lance?
Voicemail 2 group in the house.
Woo!
Let's get it.
Whoa. They're really coming out today.
Smitty, I really like that 1.10 spot because you can go ahead and take Chase as your number 1 receiver and then bounce back and get like a Swift or Javonte. That's a good start. What do you think?
Absolutely love it, bro. If I can't get Javonte and Swift, I'll get Jamar Chase or Jefferson or Kupp or whatever and get one of them. And if I can't do that, if I think I got to grab Swift in round 1 and I'm going to miss Javonte, let's say that's what you kind of got to do. You got to take Javonte second of the two because Javonte is technically a second rounder right now, right? I don't mind him at the 12-13 turn, but make him your second round pick. Dominate with Javonte in the second round. Let me put the topics up on screen. Javonte and Swift. So that's the key. Now, if you go Swift and Javonte gets sniped from you, then I think the next best approach, maybe a Debo, maybe a Lamb falls, but a Lamb or a Debo or a Diggs with Swift is pretty good. But yeah, I mean, I love Jamar Chase. If you have a chance of getting Jamar or Kupp or JJ, you got to take it. You got to take it. And then Swift after that, you know, Swift or Javonte after that. So if you can do that, that'd be good, bro. I like that. All right, let's go to voicemail group 1. I think they are resetting. Bruce.
Hey, Smitty, who's a better handcuff, Nyheim Hines or Melvin Gordon to their respective partners?
They're about the same. You know, I tell you, Melvin Gordon is Nyheim Hines. Nyheim Hines is Melvin Gordon. Finkel is Einhorn. Einhorn is Finkel. I tell you that all the time. So they're pretty much, I feel like in every capacity the same. Like they're different running backs. Like you got Hines absorbing more of the PPR work, whereas Melvin Gordon's absorbing more of the overall work. But at least Javonte gets, you know, his share of half of the PPR work until Javonte's fully unleashed. And I'm no moron. I know Melvin Gordon will be involved early on, but it's a matter of how long. You know, it's a matter of how long does this guy Nathaniel Hackett literally just sit there and go, according to these iPad instructions on how to use Javonte, you only give him the ball half time. 2 coaches in a row have figured out he's a top 2 or 3 running back, and we're going to continue down the same course and not feed him. It's like imagine if the Colts said Hines is just too good. We're not going to ever fully unlock JT. Why do it? Hines is good. Why do it? If you don't think that Javonte is JT, the next JT, then that's where the argument stops. I don't even need to have the argument anymore. I don't need to talk to people about, but Melvin Gordon did good. I don't care. Nyheim Hines did good. I don't need to hear it. You think differently than I do, and that's fine. But I don't need to explain that anymore. I don't need to explain it. Melvin Gordon will only have so much work for so long. He'll either get hurt or Javonte will be too explosive, just like JT. It's like saying, well, why didn't LaDainian Tomlinson get held back? Why didn't Alvin Kamara get held back? Why didn't Christian McCaffrey continue to divide his work up? Melvin Gordon is no better than some of the backups in the NFL at this stage in his career. He's in a very productive offense. The offensive line blocks well. It's going to be moving the football down the field, moving the chains, good yards per carry. Melvin Gordon has had his whole career to prove he is not that good. He's a pedestrian yards per carry, 3.9 to 4.1 yards per carry running back. He's proven that over the course of his long career. I don't need anything to tell me that Javonte blows Melvin Gordon out of the water at every single category. Smitty, you worried about James Cook being able to handle a full workload? No, I'm not, because he's not in a position to handle a full workload. They're not expecting to start him. Singletary's going to come out and get a whole bunch of the work. I don't know, like, if he ever got in that position, I don't know if Cook's going to hold up, as a full-time running back in the NFL. Maybe for half of a season if he's asked to do it, sure. Yeah. But a future, is he better than Cook? Some people say he's better than his brother. I don't think so. Jim.
Hey, Smitty, I'm curious what you think of Alvin Kamara's dynasty value. I'm thinking about trading for him in a league or two, and I wasn't sure what you thought of him long term. I know he might be suspended this year. There's a good chance of that this year. But what's his value long term in dynasty?
That's a real good question. I think Kamara, given that he's going to sit out a half a year or 4 to 6 games or whatever it might be, it's kind of like it's not a wasted year. But it's like we're not going to get that full year, but he's still going to, rack up the mileage and get older. And he's had a long run, like, in a sense. He's had a lot of years that he's played at an elite level. You only get so much time as a running back in today's NFL. And then you mix in all this off-the-field issues and the fact that, like, now he's got that mental... a lot of times, think about it, like a lot of times where players kind of maybe fell off a year too early, there's always something going on, like in the case of like Lev Bell moving or Antonio Brown. Like, I feel like, I'm not saying Alvin Kamara's situation will linger or that it won't just be squashed and he'll never have another off the field issue again. But I'm just saying, like, I don't know that I anticipate, like, I just can't call it a gut instinct, but I can't envision Kamara entering 2023 back in the top 5. Back to normal, everything's good to go. I feel like this is gonna kind of trigger a little bit of his downhill decline. Like, he was already there, right? He's already like on the last hurrah. He's at the very top of the peak. How long was the peak gonna be parallel, to be his elite height of his career? Because I'm not saying he's on the decline yet. I'm saying he is at the very top. There's no more uphill for him. He is at the top, plateaued. How long is the plateau? Does the plateau start to go down now because he's going to be out 6 games, come in rusty, get beat up, get hurt, and then we never see him return to form? I don't mind him acquiring him at the right price, but it would have to be something well outside of round 3 dynasty value, because you're talking about wide receivers that I'd rather have, DK. You're talking about quarterbacks I'd rather have, Joe Burrow, Herbert, all those guys, all the top 4 guys. I'd just rather have them than Kamara in a dynasty league. I'd rather have DK. I'd rather have Waddle. I'd rather have McLaurin. I'd rather have a player like, obviously, Breece Hall. I'd rather have a player like probably Kenneth Walker and maybe something more. If I could trade him away in a dynasty, I would take a Walker in a DK. I would take a Walker and something like that. 2 players for 1 if I could get that for Kamara. But Kamara's a tough sell, because nobody wants to wait through 1 year of having him out. So I don't even know if you can get rid of him at the right price.
Hey, Smitty Silver. Hey, man, what do you think about Elijah Mitchell in like the 5th, 6th round? Seems like he keeps sliding and dropping farther and farther. I know you like the Davis Price and Sermon handcuff backup situation there. What do you think about Elijah Mitchell, though, man? I think he's a solid RB2, maybe a low-end RB1, right there in that 5th, 6th round. Seems like a steal to me.
Yeah, I love Eli Mitchell in 2022. I think Eli Mitchell is a very, very safe, let me put his name up, a very, very safe running back 2 with upside to be a running back 1. Like, what's up, Derek? What's up, Fantasy Dog? What's up, Kobe? What's going on, John? When you have an offense like the Niners offense, when you run the ball like the Niners run the ball, and they may rotate their running backs into the lineup, but they don't really rotate them in the game. So if you back them up, if you get Sermon and Ty Davis Price, and I know that sounds crazy to some people, but I don't care. I do crazy things. I do unorthodox things. And one of my favorite approaches is to have Mitchell, Sermon, and Ty Davis Price in a league where I have the depth to do it. You can't do it on a small bench with 4 guys. Like, listen to what I'm saying. If you have a 4-player bench, you can't do it. You can't do it. But if you have a big bench where you've got, I don't know, guys like Osborne and Westbrook Akine on the bench, or you have like 2 tight ends and you don't need one, like, why not roster all 3 of these San Francisco running backs? Because when they start, they will produce low-end running back 1 numbers. It's probably one of the safest running back 2s you could find in fantasy, so I absolutely love it. I think he's a steal at the end of round 5, top of round 6. I love Eli Mitchell this year. I'm mocking him all the time. Discord question from B-Men. Rank these wide receivers: DK, McLaurin, Waddle, Mike Will, DJ, Judy. Pretty easy for me. I'm going to say DK, McLaurin, Waddle, Mike Williams, DJ Moore in that order. In that exact order. In Dynasty, I might keep it the same in Dynasty. I might put DJ Moore and Judy ahead of Mike Williams in Dynasty. But I love Mike Williams in redraft. So yeah, that's probably the only change I make. I maybe even move Judy ahead of DJ Moore in Dynasty, but I love DK, McLaurin, and Waddle. Yeah, I could almost go in any order depending on the wind blowing one way or another. I mean, those are solid guys. Yo, Smitty, Rich Eisen just said today that Javonte Williams isn't a top 5 running back. Good. Drive his value down, Rich. Drive it down. What's so funny about anybody that's opening their trap, their mouth on degrading or trying to bring down Javonte Williams at all. The funny part about that, let me put these on screen, is the data. Like, if you don't trust the data, like if you don't trust your eyes, if Rich Eisen's eyes are that bad, and it sounds like they are, it sounds like they're shot, it sounds like he needs LASIK immediately. If your eyes are completely shot, like Rich Eisen's appear to be, based on my opinion by hearing that, and that's just, just my thought. Why is he the number 1 tackle breaker in the NFL, getting half the work? Why is he also the number 1, according to PFF, the number 1 running back in all of 2021 with a forced missed tackle rate of 37%? It's head scratching to me. It's head scratching to me. I can't believe I guess we need to put on this side Rich Eisen goggles. We got 2 on this side. We got Rich Eisen on this side. Oh God, yeah. Oh boy. Yeah, Javonte's looking bad. I mean, that 37%, that's a low percentage out of 100. I think that's what Rich Eisen might be confused about. He's saying 37. Well, that's not a high number. First in the NFL. Okay, but what about this 37 right here? That's a low number. When we do our show later, Peter, I want you to put that graphic up. 37 out of 100 is not a good score. Ow, this is poking my eye. That 37 out of 100 is not a good score, Peter. Peter the producer. Hey, Peter the producer. We've got to get a better graphic up. This makes Javonte look like a superhero. 31 broken tackles. 31 broken tackles. Are you out of your mind, Rich Eisen? Najee Harris, 30. Taylor, 25. Nick Chubb, 23. Imagine what this guy does. Just unbelievable. Javonte.
To the moon.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Let's see if we got any more voice messages. Terry, leave those in a form of an audio message if you could. All right, that's all right. Do what you got to do. You're filling in. It's not your fault. You're filling in, bro. You're doing a great job. You're doing a great job, Terry. Now we're gonna hit the phone lines because the voice messages were a little thin today.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Call into the show. Dial 602 NFL. Dong.
All right, let's take some phone calls. It is active, so you can dial in now. Do it. Dial in. Do it. You're live on the Fantasy Football Show. Who am I talking to?
You're talking to Kobe.
Kobe, what's up, my man?
All right, man. So look, I'm in a little bit of predicament. I was able to trade a couple picks, and long story short, I have the 111 and the 2-3. I was wondering, should I go Najee and Jay Williams, or should I go Najee and Swift? What do you think is the best?
So if Najee Harris is there at the 1.11, you got to take him. Because to me, he ranks higher than Swift. He ranks higher than Javonte. So at 2.3, if that's the way these players are falling, I do imagine you're getting one of these two. And you probably take them in order of Swift. You'd probably take them in order of Najee, Swift, Javonte. But I wouldn't fault you for taking Javonte over Swift if you wanted to. If you felt like you wanted to be on this train, you just you didn't have another league or an opportunity where you're going to draft Javonte. Look, they're really close for me. They're really close for me. But Najee, you got to take him at 1.11. He's arguably the 2, 3, or 4 overall.
That's what I was thinking. That's pretty much what I was thinking. But you definitely got. Do you have Swift over Javonte, or do you have Javonte over Swift?
I don't definitely. I mean, I think I do it because I think I can get it better. You know what I mean? Like if I'm drafting at the 10 pick, I'm lot higher likelihood of me landing Javonte in the second round at the top of the second than Swift, lasting that 13 and 14 pick. So if I've got to wait a couple picks into the second round, Swift is going before Javonte because Javonte's ADP is around 14 to 18. Swift is going in round 1 most of the time now. And if you get lucky enough for him to fall, so be it. But that's why I draft Swift over Javonte. But if push comes to shove, I don't know. And when I back-to-back picks and mock drafts at 12 and 13, I take Javonte second to help drive his ADP down. I got to do my part.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I can't be taking him at 12 and then drive it. So I'm taking it at 13 by design, but that doesn't mean I necessarily like him more. But I will take Swift and Javonte in that order because it's most likely going to land me the both of them.
Got you. I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, who is this again?
This is Kobe.
Kobe,
okay. Kobe, I'm in the chat.
Okay, Kobe. I'm gonna mark you down here so I know when you're calling in again, so I can address you. So I appreciate that, Kobe. And call in anytime, even if you have another question for today.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, appreciate you. All right, what else we got? So that's a good question. I mean, it's hard to know, who to take between Javonte and Swift. I mean, Swift's probably the better, less likelihood to disappoint you early on because I've been honest about it. Like, Gordon's going to be involved in the very beginning. It doesn't matter, though. I don't really care. Javonte will be ultra efficient. Be an absolute monster, and I'm ready for it. I'm here for it. You're here for it. Javonte to the moon.
To the moon.
Swift is going to go to the moon, so
to the moon.
It's not like, either one of them is going to disappoint you, I don't think. I'd say maybe Swift has a little more injury risk, potentially, but you're live on the Fantasy Football Show. Who am I talking to?
Yeah, Tyler.
Tyler, what's up?
I just got a quick question. Hey, if Fournette keeps on slipping and all the things from coming out of Tampa saying it's like, he's growing weight, the coach doesn't like it doing it, does that mean that White could be the number one coming out of game one because he's the kind of guy that says, I'm coming for your job?
You talking about Rachaad White starting right away?
Yeah.
I don't think he'll start right away. I think they're paying so the thing about the NFL and the one thing that Fournette truthers are going to be correct about is that when you pay a guy as much as you're paying Fournette, he's probably going to get his shot. You know what I mean? Unless he gets hurt. So right out of the gate, no. But will they they'll sprinkle in a little Rachaad White early on and then see what happens? And then before you know it, Leonard Fournette's going to get flustered and just knock himself off the rails, and who knows, Fournette's not the kind of guy that I think handles stuff like that well. That's why he got ousted out of Jacksonville. He's a constant disappointment to fantasy owners, and I know he did well last year. I get it, and I know a lot of people want to believe in him. Mainly the people that own him in Dynasty, they already own him, so they're trying to defend him, and I get that. I get it, and he's got upside. He's got talent. He's got talent. He's got appeal. He's in a good offense. I understand why Fournette's appealing to a lot of people. But Fournette, at some point, he's not going to be able to stay healthy. He's too big of a guy to come in and trim down every single offseason or if he's not catching footballs, that door's immediately cracked open and Rachaad White slips right in and he's in the forefront. Give me the ball. I'll catch it. Let me show you how to do this. And similar to, I think, what's going to happen in Denver, especially with the new coaching staff, when you have a guy like Javonte Williams break off amazing, explosive runs, what do you think the staff's going to do? Put him back on the field. So Rachaad White, if you watch his game film, people that talk about Rachaad White not taking Fournette's job, I swear they haven't watched any Rachaad White film. Because if you watch Rachaad White, just Google or YouTube it, look up some highlights. When you see Rachaad White and how he can't be tackled by one guy, how he navigates and slips defenders, turns a 4-yard gain into 7. Watch the one takeaway from Rachaad White film is that he's supposed to go down after about a 4 or 5 or 6 yard run, and he gets 2 or 3 more yards, and not in a reckless way where his body's exposed and he's getting hit really hard. He literally does it in crafty, slippery, spin move, and just gets 4 or 5 extra yards every time. Or he gets in the end zone in a way you're like, okay, he's going to get tackled at the 4-yard line. Everyone's coming and colliding on him. Everybody's coming together, and all of a sudden he just finds a way to slip through and get into the end zone. He's got a great nose for the end zone. I think Tom Brady's going to really speed him along. He's the kind of guy, Rachaad White's game and skill set's so good at the college level coming in, he's so NFL ready in some ways. Yes, pass protection, he's got to learn. I get all that. This kid's hungry. He said, I'm here to start. He's going to learn what he needs to learn, and he's going to come really aggressive for the job. But I think when you put Tom Brady and you escalate, you put him in front of a player like that and you escalate and speed him along, Rachaad White's going to come along real quickly. So what I would say to you is don't expect him to start week 1 at all. No. But if Fournette goes down, this kid could thrive. But you got to draft him smartly. He's going in round 10. You can't take him. You can't get excited and take him well before his ADP. If you're sitting there on the clock and he's 12 running backs down, don't take him. Let him fall another round until he starts creeping up into sight on the pre-rank list. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the only reason why I'm asking this is because this is starting to sound like another Fournette, Ronald Jones situation. But I have taken White several times at round 10 as my last guy. For sure. The thing I don't want people to do is take away, Smitty says take him early. This whole Kenneth Walker stuff, man. I literally go into a mock draft and I'm yelling at it. It's Tyler, right? Tyler, yeah. I'm literally yelling at people before the draft starts. Don't take Kenneth Walker in round 5. Okay? You're ruining his ADP, and he doesn't belong in round 5. He's a sleeping giant league winner right now. He's not a guy you put into your running back 2 in week 1 and get disappointed, and then you come to me crying about it and saying, Smitty, this guy doesn't look like the real deal. I think you're wrong about Kenneth Walker. When I'm literally telling you it could be week 6 before he even gets a big meal. So, Rachaad White, Kenneth Walker, these are sleeping giants. Tyler Algier, a sleeping giant. But maybe out of all 3 of them, Tyler Algier could start week 1 because
they're moving Cordero Patterson out to wide receiver in Atlanta, and despite that, these draft apps are taking away his wide receiver eligibility. It's like he's going to wide receiver and then taking away his wide receiver eligibility. But Tyler Algier is set up pretty nicely to maybe grab a hold of that week 1 job. We got Brett. Dan, welcome to the YouTube exclusive membership, Dan. You get a standing ovation, a potato, baby.
Mashed potatoes!
Appreciate that. Yeah, buddy. And then we got a super chat. You got anything else, Tyler?
No, that was it, man. Thanks.
Yeah, call back if you got another question. Appreciate you. All right, Tyler, appreciate you, buddy. We had a super chat here. What do we think about Debo this year, says Big Dog? That's a good question. And you know what, bro? I think Debo's getting a lot of negative press, and a lot of analysts are coming for him saying stupid things. You're live on the Fantasy Football Show. What can I do for you?
What's up, Smitty? How's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. It's Jordan here. Just had a quick question. I heard you talking about Ken Walker. I grabbed him in Dynasty, and I wanted to see your opinion on how you think Clyde is gonna do. He's gonna be kind of my fill-in until Ken Walker gets going. I have Swift as my running back 1.
Yeah. Clyde is a curious case, my man. I'd be lying if I told you that I felt ultra confident in Clyde, but Clyde is going in round 7 sometimes. At round 5 or 6, I'm not on board, so that should tell you that I do also have some concerns and doubt about him. But at the same time, I think what a lot of people do, it's the psychology of it's the human condition. It's all the psychology stuff I talk about. You know, your boy Smitty does have a psych degree. I can dabble in these things, and I love to bring them into the fantasy football world, right? And Clyde, there's something with people right now where it's like they're so burned by Clyde. They're so mad at Clyde that they can't even adjust and say, okay, as mad as I am, he's not costing me a first or a second rounder. He's costing me a 7th rounder. But because he burned me, I'm not going near him at all. I'm going to complain about him. I'm going to say he's not a top running back. He's not a top running back. He's not a top. I mean, okay, you don't have to rank him there. He's a 7th rounder, sometimes later, sometimes earlier. I think that's a good place to start, 7 or later. And he's the number 1 running back in Kansas City. And Ronald Jones, I'm not trying to belittle him or talk about his character or his intelligence or anything, but to my knowledge, I don't think he's like a rocket scientist, okay? It would take a rocket scientist to come in to this KC offense with the KC playbook, especially with all the changes they're making. I can't imagine what's going on right now with changing out plays and stuff. Ronald Jones isn't going to walk in and know the playbook. Damian Williams, literally during that magical year where he did really good at the end of the year. He didn't do great all year long, but at the end, in the playoffs and in the Super Bowl, he was like phenomenal. You remember that? He literally said after that Super Bowl game, I didn't know the playbook all year. It was too complicated. Like, I'm not a dumb guy, but I didn't know it. I couldn't pick it up. Pat Mahomes literally went into the huddle, bro. Where's my football? Pat Mahomes literally went into the huddle every time, and he was like, Blue 76, hatchback, flex capacitor 7, Blue, hut, Damian Williams, run a 5-yard out. Hike! That was what it was like every single time. This guy didn't know the playbook. It's too complex for Clyde. I'm sorry, for Rojo. Clyde's been there. Clyde is the only, I mean, and you got, what's his name? McKinnon? McKinnon, right? McKinnon? So, yeah, these are the 2 running backs that know the playbook and the system. So, if anybody thinks that Ronald Jones is going to come in and they're going to go, yeah, we drafted Clyde in the 1st round, and he struggled, but he knows everything. We're just going to go ahead and hand this over to Ronald Jones. It's not going to happen. Ronald Jones injury could open the door to where they're like, crap, shove him in. Mahomes, tell him where to go, and they're going to call the plays, Blue 77, Nickelodeon 5, Blue 42-7 left. Ronald Jones, just stand there. That's what would have to happen. It's very complex. Clyde's getting the go. If he's healthy, he's a go. Not to mention, Clyde plays at about 205 to 210. There's some discrepancy as to whether he plays at 205 or 210. That's a heavy weight. Like, he's 5'8", and he plays at 210. That's a big boy. People act like Clyde's tiny. They're like, Clyde's too small to be a running back. He is not too small to be a running back. People are spitting stuff out of their mouth, and they don't know what they're talking about. Clyde's not too small to be a running back in the NFL. You know why Clyde looks too small? Because he played at 160 pounds last year, bro. Can you believe that? Nobody knows that. He played at 160 pounds. He weighs 210 normally. He played at 160 because he had that gallbladder surgery or whatever it was. Gallbladder. I think it was gallbladder. I keep forgetting. But Jordan, he played at 160 pounds. What if I took 45 to 50 lbs off you? What do you think you'd look like walking around, bro? You know what I'm saying? Like, sweet, I don't know. You wouldn't even see me here. You wouldn't even see me in the chair here if you took off 55 lbs. You would think that the chair's empty. Yeah. You know, like, so everybody give Clyde a little break. Let's see what he does this one last year. If he doesn't do it, if he can't stay healthy, if you trust Joe Burrow, cigar-smoking Joe Burrow said this was the best player in college football. And I know they played on the same team, but there was a lot of other players he could have mentioned that he didn't. He said Clyde Edwards-Helaire was the best player, even over him, in college football. And I wish the Bengals would trade for him. Can you imagine if Clyde, Chase, and Burrow were all together again? Burrow would know how to use them.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Give him a shot. Give him a shot. I'm telling you, give him a shot at 7-8 round value. He's going to get a lot of the PPR work if he could stay healthy. I really like Clyde late in one league. Not a lot of leagues. That shows you how much doubt there still could be. You know, I'm being honest here. But in one league, I got to own Clyde in one league. I want to make sure I have him in case he does what we thought he was going to do. And if you remember back his rookie year, that first game, God, I was so excited, man. I was pumping up Clyde big time. That was a big miss for me. It was a big miss for everybody, but it was a big miss for me, and it hit me pretty hard because I was pumping Clyde up like no other, man. And that first game, bro, I was like running around, bro. I was running around. I wish it was live. You guys could have seen me. I was like, this guy's a monster.
I have a buddy that also watches your show in my league, and he actually had the pick before me and got Clyde that year, so I actually dodged the bullet. But yeah, I was on the Clyde train with you. So.
How could you not be?
I feel you, but
how could you not be? He's so electric when he's in college, and let's just give him a shot. 55 lbs is a lot to play. A little bit light. He was light of 55 lbs.
Yeah, I got faith in him this year. So, and if not, Ken Walker or Algier will pick up the slack. So, appreciate you, Smitty.
Yeah, appreciate you, man. Call back anytime. Later.
All right.
You're live on the Fantasy Football Show. Who am I talking to?
This is Andy.
Andy, what's up?
What's going on, Smitty? I got two questions for you today.
Yes, sir.
One. With everything going on with Deebo Samuel right now in the 49ers, who do you think will be the next big guy to go for in the 49ers offense?
Okay, so this is a good question, and I want to answer the super chat while I have you on the phone, so bear with me as I'm long-winded on this. This Big Dog super chat, appreciate you, Big Dog, for dropping that, by the way.
Thanks for the super chat. Giddy up.
Appreciate you, Big Dog. What do I think about Deebo? So this guy asked me about Deebo. I think Deebo is getting a bad, rap. I think people are negative on Deebo in a way that's unfair to Deebo. Not that he probably cares too much. But I'd say, this guy was asked to play running back, bro. He was asked to play running back, and he hit it out of the park. He was doing things that Cordero Patterson was doing. He was doing, and then people say, oh, he's not a pure wide receiver. Ayuk's a better pure wide receiver. And I get that argument's going to be there until the end of the year, until we see Deebo actually prove it. But Deebo's still playing wide back. He's not going to play running back anymore, where he's lining up behind the quarterback and he's driving up the A and B gap like a running back. He's going to play wide back, where he's getting the football at the line of scrimmage or behind it or behind the quarterback, and he's going to take a -2 yard or a -1 yard or a 0 yard catch 45 yards downfield because the offense is so spread out because Trey Lance can literally throw it downfield anywhere and run, and the running game will be off, firing on all cylinders. This offense is going to be lit. Trey Lance is going to ball out. So your question is there another player that's going to go off? Are you expecting Debo to not go off and you're thinking somebody else is going to go off? Is that what your question kind of is?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what I'm getting to.
I mean, Ayuk could have a really big year. I think Ayuk and Debo will both have 1,000 yards. I think that Trey Lance is going to have a monster season. He's going to look like the next top 5 to 6 to 7 quarterback. Top 5 to 7 quarterback. I'd put him in that top 5 to 7. The big four, and he could be the first guy or the third guy from those four, after those four. He literally could be anywhere from that 5 to 7. I think Debo, if he's healthy, he's going to have a similar year. Even if it's balanced differently, he'll have more receiving yards. A lot of his catches were they were catches, but behind the quarterback, so therefore it was counted as a run. And so, he had more than his yardage total. Not to mention, he was he was top 5 in the NFL before he transitioned to wide back at wide receiver. He was number 1, Deebo Samuel, number 1 in the NFL in yards per catch. He was number 2 in the NFL in yak yards. Yak yards. You know how hard it is to be second in the NFL in yak yards when you catch nothing but short passes? You get corralled by defenders right away. How is a guy not one of the best route runners and wide receivers, pure wide receivers in the NFL, when you get spoon-fed, you get shoveled all kinds of short passes, and you're number 2 in the entire National Football League in yak yards? Unbelievable. So Debo's going to have a great year. As long as he's healthy, he's going to have a great year. Do I think that Ayuk could have 1,200 yards and 8 to 10 scores? Sure. Do I think Kittle could? I don't think Kittle, Ayuk, and Debo are all going to have monster years, because I think it will be 2 of them. So it's either Debo and Kittle, or it's going to be Debo and Ayuk, or it'll be Ayuk and Kittle and somebody gets hurt. But I mean, I would count on Ayuk. If you're looking for value, Ayuk's going in round 9, 10, 11, bro. Make sure you draft him where the pre-ranked list lets you know that he needs to be taken. Don't take him 10 wide receiver spots before he could go. When you start seeing him get closer and closer to the top, 5 or 6 wide receivers, and you're up on the clock, I mean, reach for him 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wide receiver spots. That's fine. But Ayuk is probably the guy that you're going to get value. You're going to get him very late, and he could be a top 15 to 20 wide receiver.
Yeah, I agree. Second question I have for you. What do you think about Breece Hall's current ADP at this stage of the offseason?
I love it. I think anywhere in the late 3rd to early 4th round is an absolute league-winning home run steal. I think if he climbed to 3.1, I would pay it without hesitation. But I won't buy him at 3.1 until I'm forced to. So I think people need to understand the clarity around that. I'm telling you, I would take him at 3.1 in a heartbeat if I had to, but I'm also telling you that I won't do it until I'm forced to, or if the board falls a certain way. In the throne draft, we took him at 3.1 as a community, but because we were in Snipe City, running backs were getting scooped up. We had to wait from the 3.1 all the way down the 3rd round and all the way back the 4th round to the 4.12. We weren't going to get another running back. We had ETN, Breece Hall, Montgomery, and Gibby on the board. That was it. There was no other running back option for us at that point, and they would all be, everyone I just named would be scooped up. So we had to grab a running back there. We took Breece Hall because at the end of the day, even though you can get him later, he will hit a home run from 3.1. Imagine what he's going to do for your team at 3.10 or 4.4 or 4.5, or the further down, the more of a home run. It's the further down you get him in the ADP, the more that ball is going to sail over the stadium. You're going to hit a home run still at 3.1, but it's going to be a home run that barely goes over the wall, which is still a home run. It's still going to be great. It's still going to help you win your league. But if you get him in the 4.5 range, that ball is going into the river, bro, over the stadium. So you gotta do what you can to try and maximize value, even when you love somebody enough, like this Kenneth Walker madness we've got going on in our mock drafts, where I can't control it. I can't even stop it, bro. Like, no matter what, we'll do a mock draft. Kenneth Walker goes at 5.5, and I'm just like, I'm yelling at people, going, "Don't do it, don't do it." They do it anyway. Everybody's grabbing them in our community. I'm starting to scratch my head and ask what's going on. Like, why are we taking Kenneth Walker in round 5? You can get him in 7, and that's a reach. People will laugh at you for taking him in 7. Why are you taking him in 5? Don't get used to it. You're going to be laughed at on draft day, and I'm warning everybody. Like, I know someone's going to come to me a week 2 in the comments and be like, "Smitty, I don't think you're right on Kenneth Walker. I'm going to go ahead and cut him." Do I cut Kenneth Walker? Do I cut him at this point, Smitty? I drafted him in the 4th round like you told me. I didn't tell you to take him in the 4th round. In a dynasty, maybe. A dynasty, you could take him in the 2nd round. But in a redraft, you can't touch him. You can't touch Kenneth Walker anywhere near the 7th, earlier than the 7th round. I would say 6.12 if you're like afraid he's going to go to some Jets fan, or I'm sorry, if he's going to go to some Seattle fan, and like you have close 6th and 7th round picks, like whatever. But like, stop taking him in 5. What else you got, pal?
I think that's it. I appreciate your time, Smitty. Good work, man.
All right, man. I think I got you saved in here. If you call in again, Andy, I will be able to address you. Oh, I hung up on him. Sorry, Andy. Appreciate you, Andy. Call back again anytime. Big Dog, so I hope I answered your question. What do I think about Debo? I think Debo's going to shine. He's got to stay healthy, but I love Debo. You're live on the Fantasy Football Show. Who am I talking to?
Hey, Smitty, it's Donnie. How's it going?
Donnie?
Yeah.
What's up, Donnie?
Love the show, man.
The show loves you.
The show. Yeah, I was just reaching out to inquire. I feel like this season, more than any other, is a good season to wait on a quarterback. And I know you have a tendency to disagree with that because you love Burrow in the 5th or 6th. But I think last year there were 11 guys that averaged 20 points a game in fantasy. What do you think about being the last guy in your league to draft a quarterback this year?
It's not like a secret that there's value in the later, you know what I mean? Like, people always come to me in the comments and they act like I'm a complete moron and be like, "You do know that you can get Brady later, right?" Like, we know all this, and it comes down to this, man. It's really this simple. So let me update the graphic here so that everybody knows what topic we're talking about. So early QB. It comes down to who is on the board. And if you've got a Breece Hall there, a DK Metcalf, a Waddle, a player you like, it doesn't have to be my players that I like. The players that you like. If you come down to your 4th round pick, let's say, and DK sitting there, or Hall is sitting there, or ETN is sitting there, whatever the case may be, like, you have to make a determination. Are you going to pass on that player to take an early quarterback, or is the player available not going to blow your socks off? Like name a 4th rounder that's okay to you that you don't absolutely love. Like, name anybody.
I mean, in the 4th, a Cam Akers. I don't think he's going to last.
So Cam Akers, good example. But I wanted you to come up with it, because if I came up with it, it might not mean anything to you. So Cam Akers. So what I'm telling you is, when Breece Hall or DK or Waddle or McLaurin or a player you like, envision a player you like. If you don't like one of those players, take them out of the equation. Okay? When one of those players is there, they're the best player available. And then the Burrow in round 6 is a home run. And then if you get to round 6 and somebody's there that shouldn't be there, then you take that player instead of Burrow, and then you go down and you keep kicking the can down the road. I love Trey Lance. I want to own Trey Lance as my starting quarterback in at least 1 or 2 leagues this year. I want to own Russell Wilson or Jalen Hurts in at least 1 league this year. I'm not opposed to later quarterback, but you can't, if you don't like Cam Akers and you're just going to draft him, why wouldn't you just draft a guy that could be the number 1 overall scorer in fantasy football and avoid going after a player you don't even want on your roster? Like, if there's a player you love, take him. If there's not, then take the best player available that could outscore everybody in fantasy football. And I don't care if there's somebody that's like 20 points from number 5. I'm talking about you believe, maybe if the quarterback's there, that this quarterback could be the number 1 overall scorer in fantasy football. And I'm telling you right now, I could draft a handful of running backs in round 5 and beyond that will beat Cam Akers every time. I'm not worried about Cam Akers. I don't care that I'm passing on Cam Akers. The odds of Cam Akers not having a setback or having his explosion back and staying healthy, the way he aggressively plays the game, which I give him credit for playing it aggressively and having heart and desire, but this man puts his body on the line every time he carries the ball in aggressive ways he should, lowering his head. That one play he came back after his Achilles, he looked awful, by the way. The worst running back efficiency-wise in the entire National Football League upon his return from his torn Achilles. The guy literally averaged I think a little bit above 2 yards per carry, and in some cases under 2 yards per carry. Got corralled up quickly, had no explosion, no separation, no ability to carry defenders on his back. He was literally and utterly useless. And this isn't his second year back. This is his first year back. He played a little early, but I did not consider that a full year back. He's like 1 year recovered, like around this time coming. I don't think he's even 1 year recovered fully yet. He might be. He might have tore it right around here. I forget when he tore it. But he's literally entering his first year recovered, not his second year. People are acting like this is his second year back from his torn Achilles. It's not. And so, I don't know. I'm going on a tangent, but I was just going to say that avoiding a player like that and drafting Josh Allen or drafting Herbert or drafting Burrow, even though Burrow's a little bit later than where Akers is going, I don't know, bro. To me, there's no reason you shouldn't draft the best player available every time you're on the clock. And if it's quarterback, it's quarterback. Like, I was saying that I could get a Kareem Hunt, or I could get a Tony Pollard, who I really believe could outscore Akers per start, or maybe even on the year. I'll go after a player like that all day long. Give me a St. Brown instead of a wide receiver at that. Like, I'll take St. Brown and Joe Burrow over any later quarterback and your Deontay Johnson all day long, bro. I'll take my Hopkins and Ayuk combo, which you can get like in the 9-10 rounds or 8 to 9 round range. You take Hopkins at like round 7 or 8, hopefully 8. Okay, so you take Hopkins at 8, you take Ayuk in 9, and now you have Ayuk to start until Hopkins comes back. And if Ayuk never lets go of the job in your lineup, you've got Hopkins on the bench, trade bait, whatever. I'll take Hopkins and Ayuk at 8 and 9, and Joe Burrow or Herbert over your Deontay or Pittman or whoever you want in that draft slot in a later quarterback all day long. Do you see what I'm saying? It's apples to apples. You cannot compare late quarterback and only look at quarterbacks. You have to look at what is the subtotal of what the result is. What are the ramifications of you taking an early quarterback, and who are the two players we're looking at comparatively to the two players you're looking at? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think, my big sticking point was, I think Josh Allen was top quarterback last year and averaged 24 points per game. And, I think number 11 on the list was, like 20 points per game. So, trying to find some cost savings in the later rounds. What's your thoughts on Kirk Cousins with the Kevin McConnell? And I know you're high on Justin Jefferson. So,
I mean, as your starting quarterback,
just late round.
I mean, as a backup, not as a starter. I mean, that's not my style. Like to each person their own, their own style works for them. Like if you are a streamer at quarterback, like you want a Cousins, you want a Trevor Lawrence, you want to have like 2 or 3 of those guys, and you do good that way. Don't let anybody, including me, talk you out of doing what works for you. Everybody's got different strengths and weaknesses. I do urge people to turn their weaknesses into strengths instead of just doing the same stuff over and over. Like, think about it. You're at a job, right? I don't know what you do for a living, but what is the type of work you do, if you don't mind?
The what? Staffing.
Okay. So what if you didn't train What if you didn't work on your management skills or your presentation or your selling or your whatever? Like, what if you just, okay, I suck at selling, or I suck at convincing people to do this, or I suck at, whatever. You just go in every single day and not work or self-improve. Like, people take that approach into fantasy. They're like, I'm not a very good drafter, but I'm a great manager. And they just go in and continue. Like, imagine if you, as a fantasy owner, approach your fantasy football game like people approach their job and improving their weaknesses to climb up the ladder. So that's why I have my video courses, and I plan to release a whole lot more in the coming month before August 1 on trying to improve all your weaknesses and turn them into strengths. But like, that's why practicing with mock drafts, you should do things you don't normally do. And if I'm you, I would start drafting early quarterback. And when I say early quarterback, I mean Joe Burrow around 6, bro. I mean, if Herbert falls to 4.12, like, you're talking about Burrow at 6 point whatever. Who are you getting in the 6th round that blows Burrow out of the water?
I just give you a stat, Smitty. Kirk Cousins last year averaged 19.21 points per game, and Josh Allen averaged 24.56.
I'd have to see what scoring you're using. You know what I mean? Like, that's a vague thing to throw out, because
that was Kirk Cousins in a rushing offense versus a Kevin O'Connell offense.
I hear you.
I just see pushing the ball more.
I hear you, but I'll have to look at different scoring to even, I get what you're saying, but you're also, you got to consider too that I feel like Burrow, Herbert, Josh Allen are all taking an extra step forward. Like, it's not like I feel like they're going to be the same. I'm predicting Herbert to throw for 44, 45 touchdowns, bro. I'm predicting him to run for another. I'm predicting him to run for another 3 or 4. I can guarantee you that if Herbert's healthy, the number 1 NFL quarterback start in the history of the NFL, the best start for a quarterback in NFL history in his first 2 years, Justin Herbert. This guy he's number 1 in touchdowns, number 1 in 300-yard games, and number 1 in yards. And I believe he could throw for 5,000 yards, have 45 passing touchdowns, run for 3 or 4 or 5 more. He could have a 50 touchdown season. I can pretty much assure you that these guys are becoming monsters. They're not at their peak yet, and it's not going to be 4 points or 5 points. It's going to be different. And if you think differently, it's okay. I'm not mad at you. You're not taking a lap, but I feel like whatever happened last year, it's important. It tells a part of the picture. It paints a little bit of the picture, but it's not just carry this over and let's roll. Kirk Cousins probably going to get a little more yardage, maybe. Or will the offense struggle like the Ravens offense always struggles when they try and do something completely new and different? Like, hey, let's not run Lamar anymore. They fell apart. Hey, let's run more in 2022. I wonder how that's going to go. Is Lamar going to just be better because they plan on doing this or that? Or, I don't know. I'm not sold that this transition in Minnesota is going to be just like a 100% smooth process to just go to a more pass-oriented offense when literally it's built around Dalvin Cook and Jefferson kind of equally. But we'll see. Trust your gut.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it.
Trust your gut, man. But I urge you to mock draft a little bit with that Burrow. Like, Burrow in round 6, man. Tell me who you're drafting over Burrow in round 6. Name anybody that you like that you see.
Man, yeah, I'll have to take a look.
You what?
I said I'll have to take a look, man.
Okay. All right. Appreciate you, man. Call in anytime. It's a good conversation. I like it, Donnie.
Yeah. No. Thanks, Nick.
Yeah.
All right.
Keep bringing it. Bye. All right. What else we got? Ron Navy said Sermon to come out of nowhere land. Says Ron Navy. I like Sermon and Ty Davis Price together. I think it's a pretty darn good cuff, like later on, where you could be like, Sermon gets in there or Davis Price gets in there. It starts 4 or 5 games. That is why we mock. That's correct. Eli Moore. I like Elijah Moore. What else we got? By the way, big shout out to all of our top super chatters of the year. We got Mark Cleveland with the top super chat of. Oh no, this is old. Where's Where's Avatars? Avatar is supposed to be on here. Avatar is the top super chatter of the year. I got to put that on here. Why did that go away? That like reverted back. Avatar has the top super chat of the year, but you see it at the top. Let me put it on here real quick. Avatar with a 499 wad. So put that right here. Avatar with the $499 super chat. He's the leader currently on the year. Mark Cleveland dropped a four. I don't know. Is that? Yeah, Mark Cleveland was 450. Was 450. Sorry, let me fix that. Okay, now we got all of our other. Drop an avatar emoji. Anybody that's the top super chatter of the year gets their own emoji. As you can see, everybody dropping avatars emoji. You get your own emoji. But these are the top super chatters on the left. These in the middle here, these are all of our YouTube exclusive members. We had one or two today that I'll throw up on here, so appreciate. Who was that to join today? Today we had, who was that? It was Brett. Brett, thank you for being a YouTube exclusive member, and you get to use all those emojis. Brett, throw a couple emojis out, but appreciate everybody here. We also have this right here. These newbies here. So we got 2 pages. We're on page 2. Page 2, page 1, page 2. Yeah, buddies. These are my people. These are my people. Early QB, I like the topic. It's always one that riles up some people. Not to say that that last caller was riled up. I'm just saying it does rile up some people. People come out of nowhere and say, you got to be out of your mind, like an early quarterback, Smitty. Fournette falling. Rashad White season. Rashad White to the moon, baby.
To the moon.
Rashad, baby. We don't need no reason. It's Javonte and Rashad White season. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? All right, what else we got? Any final questions for anybody? Any final topics? We have this right here.
Are the instructions on how to use Javonte Williams in this letter?
Yes, Nathaniel.
Okay, I'll read them.
Dear Nathaniel Hackett, Vic here. First off, good luck as the head coach of the Denver Broncos, and good luck with Elway, that son of a. Here are the instructions on how to use Javonte Williams. Don't overfeed him. He can only handle so much. Only give him half the work. He can only break 31 tackles per season. So if he gets out of hand early, make sure you dial him back. You don't want him breaking that 31 mark. Okay? Javonte Williams is one of the best running backs in the NFL, but you can't let people know it. Melvin Gordon was pretty good last year, so you have to play Melvin. Okay? Pretty simple. Good luck. Oh, and one more thing. If you end up getting fired, which is really likely at the end of this season, make sure you pass this note down so the next guy doesn't use Javonte. We can't have him used.
Live from the...
Anyway, that was addressing the Javonte. Like, people really believe that this guy... What's up, Ron?
Hey, question.
Yeah.
Do you feel that Jefferson has a legit chance to finish wide receiver 1 this year?
Who?
Jefferson.
Jefferson?
Do you think he has a chance? Yeah.
I mean, wow. Yeah, I mean, he has...
Or do you think he's kind of a... You think he's a waste of a first-round pick?
A waste of a first-round pick? That's blasphemy, bro. That's blasphemy. He could easily be...
Okay. Here's my second question. For him to become, have a chance of getting to be number 1 overall...
One or two.
And being so down on Kirk Cousins...
I'm not down on Kirk Cousins.
Got to get him the ball to begin with.
I'm not down on Kirk. Who set him down on Kirk Cousins?
Yeah.
Who set him down on Kirk Cousins?
Yeah, it sounds like you're down.
I'm down on owning Kirk Cousins over owning Joe Burrow or Herbert. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, Burrow's going to throw the ball to he's the number 1 receiver, has a possibility of being a number 1 receiver, right?
Yeah, I have Chase as my Chase as my number 1. But I'm saying Jefferson could be the number 1 overall player in fantasy football. He could. I mean, he's the more talented wide receiver of the two. But I do like Burrow much more than I like Cousins. But I mean, Jefferson's going to take a big step forward because he's getting better. Chase is going to take a big step forward. We don't know how big a step each of these guys is going to take, but Jefferson's like, let me put it this way, Ron. In a dynasty startup, I'm drafting JT, maybe, and then I'm drafting Jefferson and Chase or Jefferson at 2 and 3 overall. That's in a dynasty. In a redraft, both these guys are locked into my top 6. Locked in, loaded. 100%.
Okay. So and I don't debate you on Burrow at all. I think Burrow's a great value at 6. But even if you can't get him at 6 and you got to get somebody like Cousins, I think Cousins, if you look at it in half PPR and PPR, Cousins is one of the most reliable quarterbacks. If you were to do all the numbers, he's one of the most reliable quarterbacks out there, and I don't see why everybody doesn't give him some respect. The problem with Cousins overall is when it comes down to that game-winning decision making in these games, that's where he has like something's like not working in his head. But as consistency overall and getting his players the ball the way they need to and getting the yardage and getting the touchdowns and doing that and getting good fantasy points, I mean, I look at him as a low-end starting quarterback. I don't look at him as a number 2 quarterback.
How, though? Okay, so let's go over. Who do you? Can you see my screen, or do I have to read it off to you?
No, I got it.
So tell me what quarterback you're bumping below Cousins on this list. It's not about, like, here's the thing, Ron. I never once said I don't like Cousins. Never once. I'm just saying as my starter, like, look at number 12 here. We have, and I have Trey. This is from the industry average. This is not my ranking. So Trey Lance I have in my top 12 for sure. But look at who you'd have to bump out. Carr's not making it. Trey Lance isn't making the consensus data. It's Aaron Rodgers, Stafford, Russell Wilson, Dak, Tom Brady, Burrow, Hurts, Murray. It's crazy how low Burrow is. People are totally disrespecting Burrow. Kyler, I mean, tell me who, like, Cousins is ranking 15. Like, are you really going to knock Derek Carr, Lance, Rodgers, Stafford?
Yeah.
Russell? Like, who are you knocking out?
I would definitely, because I don't like let's see, Hurts. I'm not a big Hurts fan.
You're going to take Hurts from number 6?
And get you stuff.
You're going to take number 6 and 15 and
think
swap
he's
them?
way overrated. Yep.
Woo!
Lamar Jackson. I don't like him either.
Like, look, I don't
like either one of those. Lamar Jackson. I don't like either one of them.
Look, I'm a big.
I haven't picked.
I'm a big avoid Lamar
just because they can run.
I know. I'm a big avoid Lamar guy, but even I'm not going to say you're going to take Lamar out of the 4, 5, 6, or 7 spot and then put him, and put Cousins in his place. like you can't. Hurts in Lamar, I thought for sure you were going to go after like Dak or Russell Wilson or maybe Aaron Rodgers and Carr. Like, you're going straight for the top 5, top 7 guys consensus wise, Ron.
No, I would move the quarterbacks up accordingly, and of course I'm not going to like just switch and put Cousins at the number 4 spot and instead of Lamar. I'm going to move everybody up accordingly and drop those other quarterbacks down because I don't like them. I'm not going to put – I'll put Cousins in the top 11 to 10 to 9 area.
So you're putting Cousins above Lamar and above Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I don't like them. I don't like them at all.
I gotta find. Hold on, I gotta find the appropriate button for this. Hold on. I'm a little thrown off. Like, this is coming from somebody that does say, like, at the cost I avoid Lamar. At the cost I avoid Lamar. I'm more about trying to get Trey later at the cost of entry over the cost of entry in Lamar. But like what you just said, I think that's a big statement there, Ron. It's a big statement. Okay,
Well,
let me close
look
it.
at- look
Let,
at-
let me close
look
it down.
at what-
Let me close the argument with this and just say, look, I never once said I don't like Kirk Cousins, but Kirk Cousins is not a starting quarterback in fantasy football. He's just not. Not in my opinion. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion, but you're looking at a consensus data ranking here where there's no way on earth I'm going to move Rodgers or Stafford or Russell Wilson or Dak or Tom Brady or, of course, Hurts or Burrow or Kyle. None of those guys are leaving the top 12 for a Kirk Cousins. And you have Trey Lance, Derek Carr, and probably one or two other quarterbacks that could flirt around where Cousins is at. I'm not saying Cousins is bad, but Cousins ain't outscoring those guys on the regular. Could it happen in a crazy situation where players got hurt?
Okay.
Sure, but like you can't go like with those options. You can't go with Kirk Cousins as your starter when he's the 14th or 15th ranked starting. Like you literally have, in my opinion, and I know you just kind of clarified it for me as to how you see it, but in my opinion, you'd have to like let multiple teams get backup quarterbacks that are this 12, 13, 14, 15 overall territory to then accidentally get Kirk Cousins as your starter. I just don't see it. I don't see it. I don't care if they pass more. I just don't think Kirk Cousins is reliable enough.
Reliable enough? He's more reliable than Lamar Jackson. I mean, Kirk Cousins, I can guarantee you, put up more points than Lamar Jackson has in the last 2 years.
Well,
Kirk
Lamar,
Cousins has put up more points than Trey Lance. Hasn't proven himself yet.
Per start, no. I mean, I get it. That's why I am worried about Lamar at his cost of entry.
Kirk Cousins has actually outperformed Stafford in points.
I'm going to see what the chat's saying, Ron.
Been more consistent.
The chat has to be going crazy over this one.
I'm sure they are.
My chat isn't loading.
I'm sure they are.
Herbert is ahead of Josh Allen.
I
No one's really saying much
like
about this in there. Okay. Well, Ron, anything else you want to add to this? We're not going to convince each other. This is almost as bad as talking politics. We're both going to see this completely different. We don't see a lot different, Ron. We see a lot of things the same. But I don't prescribe to Kirk Cousins being anybody's fantasy starter in 2022. I'm not saying he can't shock me or have a surprise year, but draft capital wise, I'm not going down that road. He could be your backup quarterback, and then if he's going crazy and this offense is really flowing and it looks good, and Jefferson's making him look like an amazing quarterback, like you could then trade your quarterback or something and make that kind of move later. But like to actually go in with him as your starter, I feel like it's unnecessary. There's too many other quarterbacks. You'd at least want to get a Trey and a Cousins and at least go that route. Like there's no way I would approach it that way, in my opinion. But that's me.
I look at him kind of like I look at Cooks. He's very stable and he's very,
Right.
I think he's dependable.
I hear you.
He's very dependable.
I don't agree, but I hear you.
I'd rather go with
what's next? Give me a different topic, because like I feel like Cousins is even a boring topic, to be honest. Like I give me something exciting, Ron. Give me some.
I'm sorry.
No.
To offend you like
No,
that,
you didn't.
but,
No, you didn't offend me.
what
I'm
it
just saying, like, come up with something exciting. What do you got? Give me a big name, Ron. Give me something. Give me something that. What are you seeing in best ball that's gonna win best ball leagues? Because you're doing a lot. This guy Ron does more best ball drafts than anybody I know. He's seen it all. Like you probably have the ADP ingrained in your when you close your eyes at sleep, Ron. You probably see the ADP. It's probably burned in your eyelids.
It's weird. It's weird about best ball because best ball you're going to draft differently than you would a redraft league and you would a dynasty league or whatever. I find that I gravitate the lower part of my draft. I'm going after those same type of group of players. But the top of mine will adjust to different players. The top of my draft always adjusts to different players. So even though, like I told you before, like I don't like Swift. I think Swift's going to be a huge bust. But I still drafted him. I drafted the combo of Swift and Javonte because in best ball, you want to take chances that you normally wouldn't take and have your different options up there if you're going to draft a lot of them. if you're only going to draft a couple, then you want to stick to your guns and draft the players
So-
that you like. But if you're going to do a lot of them, take some chances.
All right, so before I let you go, Ron, give me one name, one player you've seen in best ball that seems like the biggest steal of best ball.
The biggest steal?
In best ball, I would say Burrow
Right now.
and Hall, Brees Hall and
Well,
Burrow.
Burrow's definitely one of them. Burrow's definitely one of them, but the way that Seattle the guy came out and talked, Walker, I got him in the 10th round. He is falling because of that stupid article, and he could be a league winner for you.
Yeah,
you know, I mean,
love
getting
Walker.
him that low in the 9th, 10th round, and you know he's gonna, especially at the end of the year, he's probably gonna have that role, that starting role locked up, and
Yeah.
going into the playoffs. Your team makes the playoffs, he's going to nail it down there.
I'd say
and then you add him with a couple of players like
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say Walker, Burrow, and Brees
say
Hall. Walker, Burrow, and Brees Hall are the three best deals in best ball right now on Underdog Fantasy. Promo code Smitty. The literally the best deals.
Yeah, everybody's on the Brees right now, though. Everybody seems to be on the Brees.
They're coming around, aren't they? Yeah.
Yeah, they're taking Brees.
Get Brees. Get Brees.
Fourth round, sometimes even the 5th round at the beginning, but now it's like he goes 3rd round a lot most of the time.
And Ron, you may have not heard me saying this because you're still like 3 weeks into the show, right? That's crazy. You seem like you've been here for like years.
Yeah.
You may have missed like I always get attacked for telling people to draft early, but I always urge people to draft early. There's only so early you could draft in a redraft, but like some people say we're going to do our dynasty draft in July so nobody gets hurt. Like I'm all about drafting early because of everything you're saying. I always tell people like you're going to get Brees Hall. The benefits of getting Brees Hall in round 5 and the benefits of getting Trey Lance in round 12 and 13 and all these other steals we've had for months and months and months. The benefits of that far outweigh the likelihood that everybody has the same odds of having a player get hurt. Like, if you're avoiding risky players, you shouldn't have a more likely chance of a player going down than anybody else, or you should have a lesser chance if you're avoiding injury-plagued players. So, like, this whole notion that, like, okay, J.K. Dobbins went down. He went down on a couple of my teams. Like, it was bad luck. But it doesn't make me not want to draft early because look at what you did in best ball time and time and time again, getting Brees Hall in round 5. Brees Hall in round 5. You know what I mean? Like, so drafting early is so awesome.
Yep.
I'm a big proponent of it. Whenever a guy goes down, a big name goes down, and somebody will. We're going to have somebody tear an ACL here in the next couple weeks. Unfortunately, knock on wood, I don't want it for anybody. Never wish injury upon anybody. But, like, someone's going to go down with a torn ACL or something bad in the next couple weeks. It's just going to happen. And everyone's going to come to me and say, now you see, don't you? That's why you don't draft early, Smith. No, it doesn't change my mind, Bob. It doesn't change my mind. I love it. The benefits of drafting early are amazing. Like, DK Metcalf's climbing now. McLaurin was like a 5th or a 5th and a half round pick, like in early February, March, right? Now McLaurin's going like 3rd round.
Yep.
Who else has climbed? Who's the biggest ADP climber? Brees Hall's one of them. I'd say Herbert's been climbing. Mike Williams has been climbing. You could have got him in like the 7th round in like
DJ Moore.
DJ Moore's been climbing.
He's been climbing. But you know what? I actually saw freaking Najee go the middle of the 2nd round just earlier today in a best ball underdog draft.
Yeah.
Believe it or not. That's ridiculous to me. I mean, that's a steal. That is a Najee in the mid-second round. That's a steal.
Yeah, I don't know why he's falling. There's no real news to like tie to that. It's not like a report came out that the offensive line isn't getting, a little bit more repaired each day, or there's a report that like both quarterbacks look lost or something. There's like nothing to tangibly hold on to that explains why Najee's gone from like 4. Like, and we were a little high on him in our community, right? Like, I was drafted him 2 and 3. And I think most people are more like 4 or 5. Like, I get comments every once in a while when someone says, is Najee at 5 a bad pick or Najee at 7 a bad pick. And I'm like, no, like it's not a bad pick at all. But he's falling, and I don't know why. I don't know why at all. I mean, they're only going to improve the offensive line.
Part of the reason I think Swift is rising, even though I don't personally like Swift. But to your credit, the majority of the people out there that I hear talking, I mean, there are a lot of people that are pro Swift. A lot of people. So he's been climbing up the boards, and plus I think people are starting to take a lot more wide receivers at the So now you're adding a Lamb running up into the first round. I saw Evans taken in the first round in a best ball draft. It's like crazy.
Yeah.
So these receivers are getting pumped up into the first round that would normally be, late second round receivers, and they're getting pumped up because, I mean, especially in underdog best ball, the receivers, people are getting this weird thing that you got to go receiver 0 running back and all this other stuff. And so they're hitting the receivers up hard.
Yeah. I'm trying to find my guys, my super chats haven't been loading. Does anybody know if anybody super chatted? I got to restart my computer, and I can't do that midstream. So if anybody has a line on that, please let me know. If anybody can tell me of what I missed and who super chatted.
James Smith did a 1999, so he needs a mashed potato.
Okay, why can't I see any of this? It's frustrating. Let me see if I can pull it up on my phone. Because I can't see anything,
yeah,
and I feel like people. I feel like I've gotten super chats, and I can't take care of a mashed potato. 1999. What a horrible host I feel like right now.
Let's go, mashed potatoes!
I just sat on the football. That was awkward.
Did you see it?
No, I can't yet. But let me go back. Let me go back a ways.
Okay. It says. Keeper recommendations for half PPR, 4-point TD league, 2 quarterback, 2 running back, 2 flex, 1 tight end, 1 defense options. Dalvin Cook, round 1. Chubb, round 1. Mixon, round 2. Russ Wilson, round 2. Jamar Chase, round 3. Burrow, round 5. Waller, round 6. And then he said, thanks.
Yeah, trying to find it. Oh, I know I can probably find it. Hold on one second. Let me pull it up here. Sorry about that, guys. Honestly, I would never leave your super chat unattended. I just can't see anything right now. I got to do a whole system restart before I can see it. Let me go. I think I can go to the back end of my super chats and look at it. Here we go. Perfect. Okay. So Big Dog sent one. Terry Roberts sent one. Rockout sent one. Thank you, Rockout. I saw the Michael KCPA one. I think I'm caught up. Okay, so Ron, I got yours. Dust Off Sermon. I think I read that one earlier. Okay, so this one. Choose 2 keepers. 2 keepers for half PPR, 4-point TD, 2 QB. Dalvin Cook, Mixon, Russ Wilson. Okay, so you kind of got to pick Burrow round 5 for sure. I mean, that's a steal in a 2 QB league. It's a total steal. So Burrow in round 5. Do you take Ron? Do you take Russ Wilson in 2, or do you take Jamar Chase in 3? I think if this,
I'd take Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
In 3 before Russell Wilson.
I think if this is a mandatory 2 QB, because a lot of people mix that up and they think they're 2 QB means where you're starting 2 mandatory typically. And then when people say super flex, that means that you don't have to. If you don't have to start 2 quarterbacks, of course you want to. It's a huge advantage. But I would try and fill that quarterback spot through the draft, and I would retain Jamar at round 3, Burrow round 5. I don't consider Cook or Chubb an option at round 1. Mixon in round 2, no thank you. Not comparative to Jamar in the 3rd round. Burrow in round 5. Waller round 6 is okay, but you could draft Waller back. Yeah, it's easy call. James, I appreciate the super chat. I'm sorry for the delay on that, man. Let me see if I can get caught up on the supers. I think I'm all caught up.
That's
What
the
el-
last one that I saw that I could.
Yeah. Yeah, Ron, maybe when you call, we do an ADP thing. You throw out a couple players at me that you're seeing in best ball ADP, and you ask me my thoughts on them. I think that could be a good segment.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So
yeah, because I see a bunch of them, top and bottom and
so
all that.
Call next time you call 2 players, different ADPs. Which ones I like, which ones I don't, which ones I like better. I think that'd be good.
All right.
All right, Ron. Appreciate you, man. Always appreciate you. I didn't mean to go at you on the Cousins thing. I hope you didn't take offense to it.
Oh, it's cool. Honestly, I take Cousins. Usually, I've taken a like a Burrow or somebody up above, and I honestly taking Cousins as usually a second quarterback. So, but I feel comfortable taking him because I know he's safe.
All right, Ron. Appreciate you, man.
Safe and consistent to me.
Appreciate you, buddy.
We'll talk to you later.
Yeah, thanks, Ron. Joe, call in again. I see you keep calling, and I can't answer it, but Joe, I'm here for you. So dial in, and I'll try and. Sorry, Ron. I didn't mean to run you off. I'm just trying to get. Joe's been trying to get in for about 20 minutes here. Every time I get on a call, he calls. There he is, Joe. What's up, Joe?
Schmidt, what's going on?
What's up, Joe?
Nothing much, man. So I just wanted to update you. I took your advice, and I actually traded Cam Akers last night for Debo. They're about the same value in my my keeper league. It's an auction league. So I got Cam off, and now you got the Lenny show. I'm trying to get Lenny off now. Now I'm scared to death of Lenny.
Yeah, I've been trying to warn people, man. His value was really high. I mean, the time to trade him was when everybody was excited about him, but I feel like thank you, Avatar. Appreciate it. I can read my chats over here on my phone now, but it sucks that I can't drag anything on. I got to restart everything. I don't know what's going on. But I appreciate everybody watching on all the platforms. I might just go live on YouTube only because right now I'm streaming to Twitter. I'm streaming over to several different places at once, but I'm having issues with that now to where like the comments stop loading sometimes, and so I'm just gonna probably do it just to YouTube. But that should fix it for next time. But Cam for Debo. So Fournette, can you get rid of Fournette for? Can you go after like is it Dynasty?
No, it's a redraft, but it's 4 keepers. I actually won the league last year. So I implemented a new rule, and I get to pick 2 of everyone's keepers, and you only can keep one of those 2 guys. But the manager of the league is also going to pick for me, and I already know he's going to pick Tom Brady and Najee. But it's like it's an auction league, so like Fournette and Debo and Cam, they're all like super low, like they're almost free. You know what I mean? So like even if I kept Fournette. Like he's so cheap that I'm definitely gonna handcuff him with Rashad if I can't get him off. But at least I got Cam Akers off, and I got Debo. I was happy about that.
Yeah,
I was real happy about that. Yeah.
Yeah, good job. I mean, go after all the usual suspects we toss out. Quarterback upgrades always work pretty good when you're getting rid of a player like that. Like, who's your quarterback?
So I have Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, but I only can keep 4 guys. So I'm gonna keep. I'm thinking about the guys that he's nominating for me. I only can keep 1 is Brady and Najee. They're both right around like the same money off. Like if I kept Najee, I would. It's like a wash. So, but everybody knows that I'm like real hard on for Brady. So if I release Brady, they're gonna make me pay for him. So I feel like I should let Najee go. And I could always just get them back for the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah, tough to say with your complexities there, but I would say once you get into the season, maybe you can trade Fournette for upgrading a quarterback or something like that. But yeah, nice job on the Cam trade. I like Debo a lot for Cam. Nice work.
Yeah, absolutely, man. But I appreciate you, man. I'm staying tuned to the show.
Attaboy.
I'm liking ETN a lot. I really am.
Yeah,
he's looking good.
ETN season.
Yeah, he's going to get kept in this league, but I'm in another league, and if that's total redraft, I'm gonna aim for him. for sure.
ETN's going to explode. All right, man. Appreciate you. Call back anytime.
Hey, absolutely. Thanks.
Hey, Bella, check yourself. You can call in now. Hopefully you can get in, and I'll answer your question. Again, sorry, guys. I couldn't respond to any of the chat. I'm hoping this fixes it. Just go straight to YouTube only. I try and multi-stream to like Twitter and those places as well, but in Twitch, we're on Twitch. What's up? Who's this?
This is Kyle.
Kyle, what's up, Kyle?
How you doing, Smitty?
Good.
Hey, I just had a question for you. So, as far as redraft goes, let's say you get a 7, 8, or 9 pick. I'm debating on picking up somebody like Mixon or Najee if he falls instead of the typical Jefferson or Chase because I like a lot of the late round receivers. What do you think about that?
I think it's an awful idea. I think
because you don't like Mixon.
I don't think you can. No, it's not that I don't like Mixon. I just think when you make a decision to draft a position, you're already losing because you just basically said because you like something else, you're going to go in a direction that doesn't actually fit with who's the best player to take. You know what I'm saying? Because the way you described that, and again, this is not, like, bro, there's 100 ways to win. Mixon and the wide receiver you grab could win your league. I'm not saying that you can't win your league, but I'm saying you're going to have a better chance of winning your league doing your thing by taking the value when it's in front of you. So if you're like literally saying, I know I should take Jefferson and Jamar Chase because they're the best players, but I'm going to go ahead and go Mixon and I'm going to try and make up for it and hit a home run and get back on track. That's how I heard that. I heard you're going to go off track to get back on track later. You're gonna try and go around everybody off train to get back on track and kind of cut in front of everybody. But the bottom line is this, man. When you have the value on the board, if you're at 7, 8, 9, Jamar Chase and Jefferson are there, they are the top picks. I like Mixon, but Mixon's a 12, 13, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 overall player. Jefferson and Chase are top 4 or 5 for me. So it's literally like they're that much more valuable to me. And I think with Javonte maybe falling, with Hall and ETN falling in the 3rd and 4th round, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised with getting a running back duo that you like enough with ETN, Breece Hall, and those guys in there that you'll be fine. Trust your gut, but can't you go Swift or can't you go, you know what I mean? Like I like Mixon, but I like Swift more, but that's me.
My only problem with Swift this year, and I know you'll probably turn your nose up at it, is just that he plays for the Lions. When I'm drafting, I was, all right, are they a high-scoring offense? Are they going to do well? I think Mixon takes a step up with Burrow in year 2 and just more chemistry. I guess I just really, which is funny because I've hated Mixon every other year. But I actually like him this year, and I don't have that feeling where he's burned me, so I have to stay away from him, you know. So I'm like, I'll take a Mixon, and then Evans in the 2nd, and Herbert in the 3rd, and Hall in the 4th, and you know.
But do you think that is Jefferson better than Mixon in your opinion?
I don't know. I think I would take Chase over Jefferson. Just because I feel like he's going to take a step up this year. I think because of running back scarcity, I want to say maybe yes.
But here's what I would say. The running back scarcity, again, in it's okay if this is the way you want to look at it. I'm not saying don't draft the way you've been drafting and what works for you. But the way you're describing it to me is you're drafting positions and not players. Because this is the second time I feel like that. And I'm not here to tell you it's wrong. I'm not here to critique it or tell you to take a lap or anything. I'm just trying to make you better. And I feel like if you start looking at players over positions and stop worrying about scarcity and, I'm worried about the 2nd round, so I'm going to avoid taking the best player in the 1st round because I'm worried about the 2nd round. Like, if you take every round as it comes, and so be it, bro. If it creates a void in your lineup, unless you've got high anxiety about this stuff like I've had before where people are like, once they create a hole, they just can't obsess about it. They ruin their team. They dismantle everything to try and fill the hole, and they make their team garbage. Like, unless you're going to have that kind of reaction to it, take the best player. It's simple, man. Take the best player on the board every time you're on the clock. As simple as that sounds, people don't do it, and you're proof of it right here. I'm not critiquing you in a bad way. I'm just saying you're proof of it that people don't take the best player available. They take a player that's going to maybe set them up overall scarcity-wise better, and it'll all come circling back and hopefully fill in the holes in a way that I couldn't have if I went best player available. I get that, but Jefferson and Jamar Chase are the best players available if they're there at 7, 8, or 9. There's just no debating it. And if you like Mixon near as much and you feel like, oh, my overall I'm going to like my 2 players better, so be it. But I'm just telling you right now, if you draft the best player available every time you're on the clock, bro, you reset your mind and you say to yourself, okay, who's the best player? Who can hit the biggest home run from this spot? Justin Jefferson. Could be the number 1 overall fantasy football scorer. He could have 18 TDs. Jamar Chase could have 18 touchdowns, bro. I'm not saying that is what I'm projecting. I'm just telling you that Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson and Cooper Kupp, they all have the potential to have a Randy Moss 20 TD season at any moment. They're that good. And I think if you pass on that for Mixon, who's good, he's like top 10 to 14 overall good. That's like that's a really good second rounder, pretty okay, not exciting, but good first rounder. If you pass on that guy that could be the number 1 overall player because you're worried about a position, you're going to regret it, I think. That's all I'm trying to explain. And I think you're going to have enough depth that those...
Yeah,
You what?
Go ahead.
Oh, no, but like, use this in conjunction with what you're comfortable with. You know, I'm not saying to just rip the Band-Aid off and play a different way, and then you're pissed off at me because you're not used to drafting like this. You get thrown off, and then in the third round you detour from what I'm saying. You start taking position again, and then you have the worst team ever, and you're like, Smitty, I tried it. I wasn't gonna have any running backs, and I screwed up. But like, you're gonna occasionally have a team that is not balanced going best player available. You're occasionally gonna have no running back 2, bro. And some people can't handle it. I love it. I live for it, bro. Kyle, I live for it. I love having a problem I've got to solve, but having one of them. Best player available, usually if it creates problems, it creates one problem in your lineup. One. It creates like a running back 2 problem or a wide receiver 2 problem or whatever. But you usually only have one problem and you're stacked everywhere else. So if you solve your problem, Kyle, if Tony Pollard lands, or if you draft Rashad White or Algier, and you've got, this huge hole that best player available didn't do you any favors of filling, and you land it, you have that team that people say, how in the hell did Kyle get this team? Oh, he picked up Eli Mitchell in week 1, and now he's got the best team in the league by far, because he's stacked everywhere, and his hole he filled with a monster that he picked up off waivers. If you create a hole and you work the waiver wire and you get that Eli Mitchell, game over. But if you start drafting positions and you come out with Mixon and Deontay and you got, like the drafting style I'm picturing you're going to come out with is a Mixon. You're going to have Mike Evans. I'm not saying Mike Evans is bad, but listen to this team. Mixon, Mike Evans, Pittman. Like, you're going to have this, like, Fournette. You're going to have this, like, really, like, bland team because you're not taking the studs that are sitting right in front of you, bro. Don't pass on Jefferson or Chase. I'm telling you. These guys you don't pass on. These are monsters, man.
I appreciate the advice. This year I am a pretty notorious running back heavy drafter towards the beginning, but because of guys like Edmonds and Mitchell and Breece Hall that you can get in later rounds that I do really like this year, I think it's the first year I've really been mocking and looking at what does my team look like if I go, receiver. What does that team look like? How does that team feel? That 8 spot just feels hard to me. It feels hard to draft from so far in my mocks.
It can be, bro. It can be. But I think overall, if you take the best player available, I promise you're going to feel pretty happy about the core of your team. And then, It's just about filling everything else out. But hey, appreciate the call. Call in anytime, Kyle. Practice best player
I
available.
appreciate it. Hey,
Yeah.
real quick, on some late round receivers, can I ask you your thoughts on a few guys?
Sure.
So Lazard, Sky Moore, Chris Olave. How do you feel about some of these later rounds?
I mean,
receivers?
I like Lazard could be a 1,108 touchdown wide receiver. Sky Moore could be he could be on that pace, but start off later, so he won't actually have those numbers, but he could be on that kind of track at some point in the year where per game he's scoring like that kind of player. But Sky Moore is my favorite, unless Justin Ross, does what I hope he does. Olave, I have on the screen. Olave, I like a lot. I think situationally he could be the best. He and Watson could be in the two best situations for rookies, for redraft perspectives, like a now perspective for dynasty rookie wide receivers. Olave should be fed a lot. He should be pretty productive. They'll use him all over the field to try and get him the football in a lot of different ways. Lazard's probably the most safe, now player, but Olave might have the most upside for the longer term part of the year, like week 10 on.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Call in anytime, man. Later.
Hey, have a good day.
All right, guys. That is going to do it for today. We are 2 hours in. I could smell the dinner. I could smell the disappointment. You've got. What's up? You're live on the Fantasy Football Show. You have about 35 seconds. The countdown timer is on. What's up? Who am I talking to? Apparently they wanted more time. Appreciate you. I still appreciate you. Guys, I'm live Monday through Friday. Every single Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern. Your boy Smitty's always here for you. This is how we roll Monday through Friday. Thank you all for everything. I can't thank you enough. You're live on the Fantasy Football Show. You have 23 seconds. You're live on the Fantasy Football Show. You have 15 seconds. You have 0 seconds. I don't know how to help you. You got to talk. That part I can't talk for you. I'll see you all tomorrow, unless there's breaking news. I go live whenever there's breaking news. Guys, don't forget to get on over to thefantasyfootballshow.com. thefantasyfootballshow.com. Get your lifetime memberships to content. Ron bringing us back. Ron says, no, you may not go. You may not go. 2 more minutes, please. Ron says, no. No. What's up, Swaggy? Appreciate you, Swaggy. D-Town. Appreciate you, D-Town. I think the comments are coming in. It's so weird. Now they're coming in again. Now the comments are flowing in. These might be late. These might even be delayed. No, I don't think they are. These are new. Okay, good. Ron Navy extension. We're going to call Ron Navy the extender. Carrick wants to know if we're mock drafting tonight. I usually don't on Mondays, but we might tonight, or I might do an out and about Q&A. I'm not sure. Ron Jeremy extender. Macho.
Show ends in 1 minute.
Macho's the man. I think my turn is up in the Cooper Cup League, says Swaggy. I botched my Cooper Cup team by drafting Burrow and Mahomes back to back because I copied over my pre-ranked list. I get it's not ideal over on myfantasyleague.com, but it's the only site that will do 96 teams. And but my team looks pretty good for botching that, and I'm going to try and do the best, start of the week, try and optimize my quarterback lineup and try and get, as if they both scored, just for numbers' sake, 300 points each. I might get 375 out of the two of them if I start them just right, or I could get 250. We'll see. Guys, I'm live Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern, and get on over to thefantasyfootballshow.com, which is right on
Show ends in 10 seconds.
Screen right here, thefantasyfootballshow.com. Get your one-on-one text device with me. One-on-one advice on demand. See you all at 7 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. unless there's breaking news, because I will go live. Hey, sorry, Bella, check yourself. Sometimes the phone lines, I can only answer one at a time, so they get crazy. Please try and call in next time. Appreciate you.
Show extended additional 2 minutes.
It's got to be a $4.99 or above. G Money's qualifies. Always good to be cousins, says Ron Jeremy. Never want to leave early because you never know when the show is going to get extended. You never know what could happen. I was about to punch it too. David, appreciate you being here. Hit that like button on the way out, says Storm. Yeah, I don't know how many thumbs up we have. We have 96 people still in here. Only 75 thumbs up. 76 thumbs up now. Punch it if you can. Help your boy Smitty out. About 100 people still in the building. Let's get those eyeballs to match the thumb up. It'll help the channel grow. Let's do this. Let's take it to the top. Graveyard Dog. I do got my Graveyard Crew. I'll put that up at the very, very end. And yes, David, I'm back. This is like a Marvel movie that comes back after the credits. It is. It really is, bro. Javonte comes with instructions. He does, bro. People don't know. I mean, Denver doesn't know how to use him. They literally called up Vic and they're like, Vic, how do we use this guy? And he's like, there's instructions. They're under the desk. They're taped to the desk underneath. Top secret instructions on how to use Javonte Williams. I think I got them right here. Here they are. The instructions read as follows. Javonte can only get half of the work. He is the best running back in the league that no one knows about, and let's keep it that way and never, ever use him. Keeping him off the field is the best thing for the team. When you have a Jonathan Taylor, you don't want to use him. You want to keep him off the field. Why would you want to give your best player the football? You know what I'm saying? Instructions are feed half time, don't overwater. And
show ends in 10 seconds.
All right. Get on over to thefantasyfootballshow.com. Appreciate you.
Graveyard Crew.
Later, everybody. See you tomorrow or earlier if there's breaking news. And I might be live tonight. We might mock draft or I'll at least be live. Appreciate